Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Monday, May 15th. It is the last week of the regular season in the spring season for the FCX. Frank Granito in studio today alongside Kevin Coleman. Eric Gendron, our director, is on board as well. And I do want to start with Kevin. You were at the stadium in the Bronx last night for Derek Jeter night. Way to be a jinx.
Oh, okay. No, it was a great ceremony, I thought, that they did for Derek Jeter last night, and it was a good touch for him on Mother's Day. He requested for his day to be on Mother's Day, so it was good to see his entire family come. You got to see his little nephew who made a name for himself when Jeter was retiring in 2014, so it was good to see him on the field. It was just good to see all the alumni come back, too. You saw Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, Bernie Williams, Jorge, Andy Pettit, Joe Torre. The list goes on. It was a beautiful ceremony. The outcome of the game itself wasn't so pretty, but I think it was a beautiful job that the Yankees did, always doing a first-class job. And
you talk about the outcome of that game. Obviously, it did not go very well in the first inning for Masahiro Tanaka. Eric, our condolences. We know that one really stung you having to watch at home.
No comment. And where was Scott Brocious yesterday? Come on. Where's Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of people missing. You know, people are wondering where's A-Rod.
I was wondering where Chuck Knobloch was. That's what I wanted to see. Chuck Knobloch come out, try to give a gift to someone and have the yips handing off flowers to Grandma Jeter. No, but it was very cool, especially for guys like us. Eric, I understand you're a Red Sox fan, so maybe one day Nomar could have that kind of celebration. I doubt it, but
well, Big Papi's
got his thing this summer. That's
coming.
Be
yeah.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, but no, growing up in that Jeter era and getting to idolize a guy like that, very cool, awesome that you got to go there. And you talk about tremendous athletes. We have a couple of our own to recognize today as we have our Week 4 Athlete of the Winners for the spring season, brought to you by Danbury Orthopedics. First up was Ben Kasparius of the Staples baseball team. Kasparius pitched a no-hitter with 13 strikeouts in the Wreckers' 18-0 win over Stanford High. He also led the attack offensively, 2 home runs and 5 ribbies for the future Tar Heel. For the female side, it was Taylor Brown of the Trumbull softball team. Brown led the Eagles to 3 victories last week. The shortstop had 3 hits, including a double and a triple in the Lady Eagles' 16-4 win over Wilton. Had 2 runs and 2 hits, including a double when they beat St. Joe's 6-1. Oh, she opened the week with a home run and 2 doubles in the 13-2 win at Greenwich High. So congratulations to Ben and Taylor. Of course, this is Taylor's second time winning now. She was a winner in the winter as well, Kev. And for more on who our next female winner will be, let's hear the Week 5 nominees with Kevin Coleman.
Well, starting things off from West Hill softball, it's Kira Ramon. Ramon reached base 4 times and belted a double and a home run as the Vikings defeated the Darien Blue Wave 5-2 on Friday night. Ramon had a sacrifice fly and a walk, scored once, and had 2 ribbies. The win pushed West Hill into first place in the FCX standings. Next up, from Trumbull Girls Golf, it's Alexa Brown. Brown had a round of 36 to lead the Eagles to a 194-196 victory over Darien High at the Tashua Knolls Golf Course. The Central Connecticut bound Brown fired a 44 in a win over Danbury. Next up, from West Hill softball, is Edelise Aquino. Aquino was dealing for the first place Vikings, tossing a complete game shutout in West Hill's 4-0 victory over Ludlow last week. Aquino allowed only 5 hits while striking out 7 batters, setting up a first-place showdown with crosstown rival Stanford this week. Next up, from Fairfield Ward Girls Lacrosse, it's Courtney Sheets. Sheets had a big week for the Mustangs, scoring 7 goals to lead Ward past Danbury 18-7. Sheets also had 3 goals in last week's 7-5 victory over Canton High. Last but not least, from Wilton softball is Kate Chauvelin. Chauvelin, a freshman, threw a 1-hit shutout in Wilton's 12-0 win over McMahon last Tuesday. She retired the first 15 batters she faced, taking a no-hitter into the 6th inning. She struck out 6 batters and walked 1. For the male athletes of the week, I'll send it over to Frank.
Thank you, Kevin. And first up from West Hill Baseball is Bobby Zamarziak. He was 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs in West Hill's 10-8 victory over Darien. The sophomore hit a 2-run homer in the 2nd inning and followed that up with a solo shot in the 5th. Next, from the Trumbull baseball team, Andrew Loico threw a 2-hit shutout against Wilton last week to improve Trumbull's record to 9-5 in FCX play with the 1-0 win. Trumbull, now tied for 6th with the Norwalk Bears, is just a game behind 4th place Wilton. Noah Meeks of the Danbury baseball team allowed only 4 hits and struck out 7 in pitching the Hatters to a 1-0 victory over Bridgeport Central last week. Danbury still clinging around. They're just a game and a half out of the playoff race with 2 to go. Patrick Metzger from the New Canaan baseball team pitched 4 innings of no-hit relief to get the win as the Rams rallied to defeat rival Darien 11-10 at Meade Park last week. Metzger struck out 3, came in with New Canaan trailing 10-7. He walked the second batter he faced and would retire the next and final Wave 11 hitters before the Rams scored 4 in the bottom of the 7th for the walk-off victory. And finally, one lacrosse player amongst these baseball boys, Gareth Gassetta, back into the nominee list, had 11 points on 6 goals and 5 assists in the Mustangs' 16-6 win over Danbury. Ward still lingering around just outside Fairfield-Ludlow for the 8th and final playoff spot. Those are your 10 nominees for Athlete of the Week, brought to you by Danbury Orthopedics. Make sure you go to HAN.network to get your vote in. A lot of deserving nominees again this week, Kevin. Hopefully we see the numbers way back up as we are in the final week of the regular season here.
We are. And just something that I read was that West Hill Stanford matchup in girls softball. Boy, that is going to be high drama and a lot of fun to keep an eye on.
And we're going to have a little bit more on that later in the show. But for now, we step aside, take a break. When we get back, we've got lacrosse highlights from Saturday's big matchup between Trumbull and Ludlow coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Part of banking well is doing good. That's why, with the support of local community partners, Bankwell has launched the Bankwell Pet Adoption Project to boost awareness about the hundreds of animals in local shelters that need a home. And when you donate to the cause using the Bankwell self-service coin machines, we'll match your donation. For details, visit mybankwell.com/pleaseadoptme. Bank smart, bank local, bank well.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now at 3 locations: 131 Kings Highway North in Westport, the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
Pizza to satisfy even the most demanding critics. Tuesday Pazza Pizza.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Sign-ups are now open for one of our most popular programs, the New England 80 Elite Lacrosse Division I and Division III showcases. With D1 and D3 coaches in attendance, players will receive a 60-minute webinar with Director of Recruiting Hans Hansen, a custom NE80 penny, custom shorts, and a video of all games. Last year's event sold out quickly, so sign up now for the next showcase coming in January 2018. Like and follow us on Facebook.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Eric, we're happy to welcome you back in. We kept you a little silence there in the first block. Feel bad, so I'll let you get your first thought in. What we saw Saturday, Trumbull-Ludlow boys lacrosse. The Eagles looked pretty good, like a team that could potentially knock off one of the top schools here.
I was very impressed. That was a fun game. It was a little slow to start, and obviously, the rain was hampering a lot of things. Even us, we were limited to one camera in that setup on Saturday, but it ended up being a really fun game and getting a really good look at Trumbull. They were an interesting team, and I really liked the freshman shots. That was pretty impressive. They had a nice little 1-2 combo going on there with Hoffman, and I was impressed that Ludlow did take a lead. It seemed like they were kind of out of rhythm a bit. Maybe the rain was kind of throwing them out of whack, but we were able to come back strong. And if they can get in there as a 6, maybe even sneak up to that 5 seed, it's going to be a very interesting first round game with Trumbull. I'm not sure if they have necessarily. They'd have to play a perfect game to get out of the first round, but it's not totally out of the realm of possibility, I think.
Should they beat Greenwich in their last game, they would play Ridgefield in that 4-5 matchup in the first round. I think that's a very favorable matchup for Trumbull, and they'd have a good chance. They also need Ridgefield to lose to New Canaan today. They could potentially jump up, get a home game. So, again, we talked about this all last week. There is so much going on in all these playoff races, and it's nowhere close to being decided yet. On the other side for Ludlow, Kev, they're sitting in the 8th spot right now. That looks like that's where they're going to end up. I don't know they have enough to knock off Darien. One positive they can look forward to, Carter Liebrock played unbelievable in goal despite giving up 12 in that loss. He was huge at times. If he gets hot and somehow finds a way to steal a game against Darien, I don't see that being as far-fetched an idea as them winning a shootout with the Wave.
Certainly. I mean, Liebrock was outstanding, like you said. That first half, he made some ridiculous eye-opening saves and continuing on in the second half. But I think the Ludlow defense kind of broke down. That's where you saw the adjustments made by the Trumbull Eagle coaching staff. They made some adjustments. You talk about Schutz. I mean, he really showed up in that second half after a very slow start for the Eagles. In that first half, the Eagles came out, they really just were firing on all cylinders in that second half, playing really well. But yes, Liebrock is a goalie that, if he's hot, he can really carry a team. But I don't know if that's going to be enough against a team like Darien, who has so much firepower up front.
It was 3-1 with 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Trumbull then pours in 3 goals, and they take the lead. I think that was really where the game turned, because for a while, Eric, you got the sense, Trumbull's dominating play, but they just don't have it offensively. They're not going to break through. Liebrock's going to find a way to stifle the offense. Then the quick strike ability happens, and Trumbull, they've got athletes, I think, comparable to some of the best schools in the conference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I think the big key, especially during the second half, everything was starting to get even more and more slippery, and Ludlow was just making really silly turnovers as the game went on, and that was a huge change. And just also, again, the defensive strategy, or I'm sorry, the offensive strategy for Trumbull, in their offensive end changed, and we're really able to penetrate that Ludlow defense. But obviously, going to be very interesting to see what Trumbull can do, and. Yeah, the Ludlow turnovers were really what killed the Falcons, I think, in that second half.
And it was also the penalties too. I thought, Frank, that killed
absolutely.
them as well. And Trumbull was excellent in the Circle X. I thought they were great with the faceoffs, winning 18 of 24. I mean, when you have a stat like that and you're winning possessions like that, it's hard to lose in a way.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because those were going to be my next 2 topics. Spencer Biebel was phenomenal in the draw circle. I don't know how well he's going to compare to a Cravato, a Strub, or a Sevilla, but he proved that he does belong in the conversation with some of the more dominant men. And you're right, Trumbull did not take a penalty all game long. Ludlow had 4. Those were opportunities that allowed the Eagles to get momentum going again and regain control after Ludlow did mix in goals here and there to end runs. Maybe you thought they'd get on one of their own. But in the end, it was a 12-8 Trumbull victory. Here are the highlights from Saturday.
Thompson with a turnaround shot here, and he's able to convert as the Falcons strike first. Able to convert. Lee Brock denying the Eagles at the opposite side, but Hoffman breaks his way to the cage, and he scores on the short side. The defense got lost on the slide. Hoffman walked in all alone. It's back around towards the front of the net, and a big save by Vaughn. Wyckoff had a chance at the rebound, couldn't control it. Comes out to Thompson, and he blows it by the sophomore. It's 3-1.
Their better looks of the afternoon.
As Cameraman, quick catch and release, and he beats Lee Brock upstairs. Left to play now. Tied at 3, trying to work all the way around. Another shot here, and it shuts again. Same move as his first goal, but this time he's on the left side of the cage, and Trumbull has their first lead of the day. Stick stronger on possession. You factor in the wet elements here as Hoffman diving to the front of the cage, and he nets one up top. Trumbull's back in the lead.
What a great athletic move there by Danny Hoffman.
And now they battle through a loose scrum, coming up with it there, and what pretty passing. As this time it shuts, going over to Cameraman. And Coach Parisi might want to take a timeout on his job very well. That's why they have a 3-goal lead. It's a shot here down low. Slips by the left foot of Vaughn. It is Kleinbeck.
Be hurting the Falcons.
As Roberta catch and shoot. And the fastball's in upstairs. Lee Brock never had a chance. Touch before they clinch their 7th win of this FCX season.
So Trumbull's now 7-3 in conference play. They hold 6th place to themselves. Staples a game behind, but the Wreckers do have the tiebreaker over the Eagles. It's very crowded right now. One thing is for sure, Darienne's going to be the 1 seed. They just beat Greenwich as well, so it's looking like New Canaan will be the 2 in that scenario. Wilton's going to creep up. Greenwich, Ridgefield, they're all fighting around there for the 3 spot through 5. Then you got Trumbull, Staples, and Ludlow. I don't want to be mean, hurt anyone's feelings. Ludlow's not going to beat Darien. I'll say it. I don't think there's a team that's going to beat Darien. It's not going to be Ludlow in the first round. New Canaan, depending where teams fall in the order, could be ripe for the picking. Could you imagine if Staples is a 7 seed playing New Canaan in the first round after the way they lost that game?
You talk about that game from a couple weeks ago, double overtime. I thought Staples played the perfect game that they had to play at home. If they can continue to play that way, I know they've fallen a little bit of a stretch here where they've lost a couple games, but if they can, come into the playoffs, kind of forget about the regular season, start a new season, if they can get New Canaan in the first round, if I'm New Canaan, I have to be a little nervous because Staples, you already saw them take you to double overtime, so you have to be extra careful if you're the Rams.
You could be looking at that possible rematch, or it'll likely be New Canaan, Trumbull, in which case then you see Wilton and Staples, which is a very intriguing matchup
But also, Trumbull could give New Canaan a little bit of trouble as well. After what I saw from the weekend, this is a young Eagle team that has a ton of athletes and good lacrosse players that, they could match up here and there with the Rams. Yes, the Rams on paper are a better team. But on a given day, you could see the Eagles come out and play a perfect game, giving the Rams a little bit of trouble.
Eric, there are 2 teams, if I'm New Canaan right now, I don't want to see, and that's Staples and Wilton. You got to figure they're on the opposite side of the bracket, staring down Darien in the championship at the earliest. You're hoping that Staples or Wilton gets knocked off before and you don't have to deal with that team because I don't like that matchup for the Rams.
Oh, Wilton, absolutely. I mean, Wilton, I think, is a team that we really got to watch out for here. You look at their losses this season, only to Darien and New Canaan in the first game of the year, where they almost pulled one out there that we had here on the HAN network. A tight loss to New Canaan and not a bad loss to Darien. Well, it was kind of bad, 11-4. But
there's no such thing as a bad loss to Darien. Let's be honest.
That's true. And then you look at Staples. So they had a 3-game losing streak against the big 3, New Canaan, Ridgefield, Darien, and then they just kind of went to town on St. Joe's, Stanford, and West Hill. That could kind of boost your confidence. They dropped 19 on Stanford, dropped 18 on West Hill. Get that offense clicking again. You're right, Frank. Neither of those teams are teams that New Canaan wants to face. I just feel like New Canaan has these vulnerabilities, especially this time of year, that a team could jump up and bite them.
And the two teams we haven't mentioned yet, Ridgefield and Greenwich, they look like they're going to be locked into that 4-5 spot. What a matchup that's going to be. Greenwich closes the year at home against Trumbull. Ridgefield will play host to New Canaan in their last game. Those most likely going to determine home field advantage for that 4-5 game. But we had round one of that meeting. That would be a lot of fun a second time.
It would. We were actually not really talking enough about Ridgefield and Greenwich. I think both teams only with 2 losses. Well, Greenwich has 1 loss in the West Division, but overall, I think these are 2 really strong teams. That, again, you talk 1 through 8. Yes, if Ludlow finishes 8 and faces gets Darien, that's going to be a tough matchup for them. But 1 through 7, boy oh boy, that's scary. There's a lot of good teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
I wouldn't sleep on Ludlow. It's no disrespect to Ludlow, but sorry, the 8th seed's not beating Darien. That's someone playing the Cavs in the first round. You talked about not talking about Ridgefield enough. We're going to solve that problem after the break. We got a full preview coming up. New Canaan at Ridgefield baseball, just baseball coming up. Number 2 spot in the conference on the line this afternoon at 4 from Governor's Park, only on the HAN Network.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now during the Drive and Discover event. Now through May 31st.
At Budget Blinds, we're in business to frame the light, the day, and the night. So we give you an exclusive combination of high style, expert service, our no surprises pricing, and our no questions asked warranty. We believe that everyone, at every budget, deserves style and service. Isn't that a beautiful place to be?
You don't have to go far for authentic Neapolitan cuisine and renowned wood-fire pizza. Pizzeria Loretano of Bethel is a contemporary Italian bistro, specializing in authentic wood-fired brick oven pizza Napolitana. Pizzeria Loretano was named one of America's top 1,000 Italian restaurants in 2008 by Zagat, and recommended by Jane and Michael Stern on National Public Radio's Splendid Table. Located close to the Bethel Cinema, we focus on quality, and our food is always made to order. Join us for live jazz Sundays from 6 to 8. Find our schedule, menu, and more at pizzerialoretano.com and like us on Facebook.
The new fishing season is fast approaching, so it's time to head over to the dock shop and get your gear in order. We're now offering bait in both Darien and our Westport location. The dock shop can service and repair your rods and reels, spool up new line, and fill any empty space you might have in your tackle box. Whether you're a fisherman, boater, or beach bum, the dock shop is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
Spring has sprung at Walter Stewart's Market, and we're celebrating the new season with fresh takes on spring. From the finest produce around to guaranteed fresh seafood delivered daily by the best local supplier. Not only are we your time-saving one-stop shop for everything you need this season, our personable team is always ready with a helping hand. Shop Stewart's for the best of spring. Find us at 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
La France de Chartrenet, c'est la France de tous les Français.
I can't believe it.
Well, Dad, you did it. You sold 160 cars. Ready to go back upstairs now?
I think it's time. I wonder how the boys are making out in their new office.
Not what I had in mind, Kyle. What, Dad?
Maybe we should retire. Right now, lease a 2017 Rogue S for only $139 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, and at least one of us was ready for today's show as we get set for the big matchup in baseball. New Canaan at Ridgefield, the number 2 seed in the conference, on the line, but only if the Rams come out with the win, Kevin. Both these teams have lost to Staples. As we're going to take a look at the standings right now, and you see it is crowded at the top, to say the least. Darien not quite in yet, though, Kev. Ward holds a tiebreaker there. How about Trumbull and the run they've made down the stretch here?
I mean, they've done a great job here. A little bit of a slow start to this season, but you see them right now. Great record now. 9-5. It speaks volumes to what they've been able to do down the stretch here, and that's scary for teams that they're playing well at the right time. And yes, slow start, but they're playing well at the right time.
Ben Farrow for me is up there as one of the potential players of the leagues. Eric, a team we haven't been talking a lot about, who's now quickly tied for 3rd in the conference. How about the Wilton Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, we were saying right before then, wait, where did Wilton come from in the middle of this? We got to do a little scouting on Wilton, so I hope to see them in the playoffs there because. They're a team that we haven't heard a ton about. They've quietly gone about their business, and all of a sudden, could be the 3 seed in this tournament. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Warriors.
I mean, the tournament's going to be crazy. Even just the end of this week, you've got a lot of games coming up today, huge playoff implications, and then again on Wednesday, there are going to be 4 or 5 games that directly impact who's in, who's out, where you're playing, if it's home or away. It's going to be an exciting finish to the season. The road to Harbor Yard now in full force. One team on that list, Kevin, who you think right now is in the best position to make a run for a championship?
I have to go with the 1 seed, West Hill. They're playing well. But Trumbull again, it's tough. I mean, it really is hard to pick. There are so many good teams here. You could easily go with Staples. They're playing at the right time. You could easily go with Ridgefield, New Canaan, Wilton. I got to go with West Hill, though. They're playing really well. This is a team that knows how to play. They win at the right expense. They're just playing well on all cylinders right now. At the 1 seed, they're feeling comfortable. But if I had to pick 2 teams, it's West Hill and Trumbull. I think Trumbull, again, the pitching staff is dominant. They have the deep depth throughout the lineup. I like those 2 teams to make a run at it.
Eric, who's your team right now that's in the best position to make a run?
It's going to depend on today. I think, whoever pulls out this game today is going to be in a great position come playoff time. But to go back to that Wilton team, too, one thing I just remembered about them is that they got a core group of kids who have been playing together since they were in Little League. And between Billy Black and Henry Stremecki and Colin Cahal, a bunch of kids who played together through Little League, who I covered when they were in Little League.
I was going to say, it almost sounds like you were a beat writer, Eric.
Yeah. And, they went into the regional tournament. So this is a group of kids that have been playing together for a long, long time. So that's really something to keep in mind about, a team. That really carries a team, I think, a bit. But I'm really intrigued by today's matchup between New Canaan and Ridgefield because I think it's going to speak volumes of the direction of this tournament come next week.
And you talked about a busy schedule today. West Hill is at Stanford. That game's at Cubetta Stadium. I know the standings would tell you this should be an easy win. It's a city rivalry, and we've seen how well Stanford can play. Not an easy one necessarily for the Vikings. Ward is at Greenwich later today. That's a huge game for the Mustangs. Greenwich looking to spoil Ward's season. Staples is at Ludlow, New Canaan, Ridgefield. Wilton, Danbury, an interesting matchup there. And you got Norwalk, Trumbull, 2. That game's at Trumbull. That's all just today. Wednesday you come back, Trumbull and Danbury. Ridgefield and Ward, Staples, St. Joe's, Ludlow and Wilton, Darien, Norwalk, Greenwich, and West Hill. These are all teams that are either playing for position or playing to get into the playoff race. And we talked about this at the start of the show as well. One of the biggest matchups today, and it's a little unfortunate we're not going to get to see it. If you have any video of this game, please tweet it at us. We will use it on Nutmeg tomorrow. Stanford, West Hill tied for 1st, and they're battling out in softball this afternoon down in the city that works.
It's going to be a great matchup. It's a shame. You're right that we can't be that. Those 2 teams are just playing lights out softball right now. But you're right. Especially this week. I think that if you're any team right now and you're in that playoff hunt, playoffs start today. It starts this week. It may not officially be playoff time, but it really starts this week. And I think today we get to see a great matchup between 2 excellent baseball teams who have been fighting all season long. You talk about a New Canaan team who weren't sure what their identity was at the beginning of the year. They went on a great run. They're still playing great baseball. They get Robbie Jones back. And you got a Richfield team who, again, another team who not sure what their identity was coming into the year. Again, great baseball. They're playing both teams fundamental, great defense. They're backing up their pitchers, great catchers as well, and they're just getting timely hits. These aren't power hitting teams, but they get timely hits. That's why you're seeing them at the top. You're seeing New Canaan at 2. You're seeing Richfield tied for 3rd place with Staples and Wilton. I mean, 2 excellent teams. It's going to be a fun matchup today.
Eric, if you had to pick one part of the game today that's going to be most important to one of these 2 teams getting a victory, what would you say? Is it Richfield pitching, New Canaan hitting, the middle relief from one side? What is going to be your X factor today?
I really think that we saw how relentless this New Canaan offense can be. They have been at times. And if New Canaan can swing the bats, Richfield's Governor's Park is a place that ball can carry if you get a hold of one. I'd be very interested to see. We saw a couple home runs from the Rams in that game against Darien, so they're capable of a long ball and obviously a rally too. I mean, my goodness, that's probably one of the most memorable wins for the Rams against the Wave in any sport in a while.
It was a comeback they certainly needed after all the losing, being on the wrong side of those the past few years. Kev, 30-mile-per-hour winds, so obviously we could see balls carried today. What's the most important factor for you?
Yeah, it's Richfield pitching. I think Eric hit on the nose with, New Canaan has done such a great job down the stretch here with timely hitting. You talk about that great comeback win against Darien. This is a relentless team throughout the lineup. They work pitches. They make you throw pitches. They're patient at the plate as well, but they also can be aggressive. So Richfield pitching needs to do a nice job today, get a nice start. And I think, it's a deep park too, so yes, 30-mile-an-hour winds could let the ball carry a little bit, but again, I think both sides have a little bit of strong pitching that you may see a low-scoring game today.
We'll have to see what direction the winds are blowing when we get there.
That's very, very true. We'll figure out which way cameras are falling. For me, I'm going to go with our Athlete of the Week nominee. It's Patrick Metzger. He's one of the smoothest athletes in this conference. Just makes it look effortless and easy. He's got some of the best hands we've seen back in the fall for the football team. The junior has really come into his own. And talking with Coach Mitch Hoffman, he said Pat has established himself as one of the best middle relievers in this conference, just so trustworthy. If they have to call upon Metzger today, I think that is a great place for the Rams to be in if they're leading, because he's got the confidence now where he can get through a lineup, hold a lead, and get them to the finish line. Either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're at Governor's Park. We're on the air at 3:55. Game first pitch is at 4 o'clock. Again, Richfield and New Canaan in baseball. We will have full highlights for you tomorrow afternoon on Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock, where we will be at the Country Club of New Canaan. Kevin, we're getting golf on the network for the first time. Final thoughts around the horn, and we start with our director, Eric.
Looking forward to that golf match tomorrow. You will be able to see it simulcast on Thursday. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to try this out, put some fun things together. And we'll have Frank doing his best gym dance in the next couple days.
I'm more of a Nick Faldo or David Faraday guy. Kev, what do you got?
I think today's going to be a great matchup between Richfield and New Canaan. It's too bad I didn't come prepared with my Tiger gear, but I think the Tigers are going to pull this one out. But like I said, lowest scoring game, and tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun too. Checking out the golf match between New Canaan and Darien. That's going to be a lot of fun and a first for all of us.
I've got your USG official rules book on your desk. You will be quizzed on it before tomorrow's match. We're out for now. We'll see you later this afternoon. And, of course, as always, 11 a.m. coffee break with Kate Chaplensky, only on the HAN Network.